Hello and welcome to Downtown. I'm your host, Robbie Haigh. Today we are talking with Linda Simon, who is the chairman of the board of the Lakota Kidz. And you'll be hearing more about Lakota Kidz. Welcome to the show, Linda.
Robbie, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. I'm not the first Lakota Kidz worker that you've had on this show.
No, as a matter of fact, we've had two others over the years, but it has been a long while since the last show. So thank you for being here and updating us on what's going on and in a timely fashion. How did you ever get to be part of the Lakota Kidz?
I became interested in this organization when I met the people who were working on it. They were mostly from Hull, Massachusetts, but some others from Boston and Cape Cod. And it just sounded so intriguing that they were taking an interest in a community that was so far away. And yet their take on it, their understanding of what was needed was spot on. And I thought, this is really worthwhile. And then also I had my own personal interests in Native American history and culture. Although I'm not a scholar, I do have Native American friends. And when I was a child, I lived for a while near the Penobscot Indian Reservation in Maine, a place called Indian Island. And my father befriended one of the fellows who lived there. They were buddies. And my father would take me to the reservation when they had observances,
So you
ceremonies.
have hands-on knowledge.
Yeah. And children would dress in regalia and dance, give a little performance. And as we drove around the island, now I was very young at the time, about 10 or 11 years old, but I noticed up at the Penobscot Reservation how poor everything seemed. And it was more of an impression than a real understanding at that time, but I carried that with me. And when I got involved with Lakota Kidz, and we learned a lot more about what was going on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation in South Dakota, I understood that this was a pervasive problem among communities of poverty, not only Native American, but all communities of poverty.
But it seems to me that I don't remember hearing of any Native American group who were out of poverty.
Well,
Really?
Native Americans are a very diverse population at this point. Some live on reservations, many don't.
Right.
A lot are assimilated. Many of them go into the army, go into colleges far away from their reservations, work in cities. I mean, it's just like everyone else.
That's very true. Excellent.
But when they want to go home, many of them think of the reservation as home.
Yeah.
It's someplace where you can always go, where you may have relatives, where you can always find a place to stay. And when I think of my own idea of home, yes, Boston is always a place to come back to, no matter where I've been.
Wow.
So,
I actually have a personal friend who goes to the reservation because she spent her childhood there.
Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota?
I don't know if that's the one, but she does go to her
Her own
reservation.
Yes,
Yep.
indeed.
So tell us a little about the Lakota Kidz.
Oh, Lakota Kidz. It's an organization that sends different kinds of aid to a small town and a K through 12 school in Wanblee, South Dakota. And I have some pictures of Wanblee, if you'd like to see them.
We'd love to.
The reservation is kind of bleak. You would describe it as bleak, although it can be beautiful for hikers. There are some spectacular colors. If you visit, you may come back thinking that the mountains are majestic and everything's lovely. But actually I'm sorry, here's one photo.
Oh, it does look bleak.
Yes.
It's amazing.
The prairies are vast, and there's 6 months of snow.
Wow.
And
We certainly know
recent-
from our New England weather what 6 months of snow could do.
You said it.
Yeah.
And
wow.
this photo was taken just a week ago.
Really? So they're
Already
already
snowing.
in the snow. Wow.
It's already snowing. The mountains are full of mineral deposits. I think when the United States government decided on giving this land as a reservation, they didn't realize that the hills were so rich in minerals and gold. And
Really?
shortly after, the reservation was established, when gold was found in the hills, the reservation was overrun illegally with prospectors, who were not invited.
Sure.
Yeah. So this is our little town of Wanblee. Here's the post office.
And the sign says from Plymouth Rock to Standing Rock.
That's right. We have a board member of Lakota Kidz who has gone out to Standing Rock to help protect the waterways from the Dakota Access Pipeline.
And of course, what we're hearing about in the news right now is all about Standing Rock. Am I correct?
We are, yes.
Yes.
The Standing Rock Sioux tribe are trying to protect their waterways, and they're having a difficult time. You can see it on news shows such as Democracy Now!, but the mainstream media really isn't covering what's going on out there. It's a shame.
Really? So, and they're protecting their land because they know that the water, or they think that the water is definitely going to be hampered by what is happening with it.
Absolutely. This Dakota Access Pipeline crosses waterways 200 times.
Really?
Yes, any little leak would affect all these waterways that are tributaries to the Missouri River, which Indians call the Mother River.
Right.
Because it waters so many.
And this is
lands.
on land also that the Native Americans are own. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Much of this goes through tribal land.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes. So Native Americans are actually getting a lot of support from around the world.
Excellent.
People who are from communities and organizations that are interested in water quality.
Yes.
They understand.
And we're all about the greening of America too.
Oh, yes.
And
Exactly.
clean water and well, it's good. I'm glad they're getting backing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
Now this town of Wanblee, I understand the temperature dips quite a bit.
Oh, it can be. It abuts the Black Hills, the Badlands, what we call the Badlands mountains, which the temperature can drop to minus 40 degrees in the winter. And the winds coming off those mountains are just chilling.
Yeah.
And this is the quality of housing that is available in Wanblee. This is a house that's sort of the government-built housing that's similar to military barracks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not very substantial, really.
Yeah.
And over the years, the houses begin to fall into disrepair. It's hard to get materials to repair them.
Okay.
So there's a lot of patchwork going on. It's damp, so that black mold grows inside the houses, and that's very hard to abate. So you see water stains on the walls.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like a lot of people in that one little area.
Oh, you said it. The housing, there's a great culture of hospitality among Native Americans. If even a distant relative comes to you and has need, you take care of them, and you let them live with you.
Wow.
So there's often 8, 10, 14 people living in one house, maybe more. And sometimes it's just a trailer.
Yeah.
It's very hard to have significant economic growth in a place that is so rural, that has no major industry, that doesn't have water. Wanblee doesn't even have its own water source. It has to pipe water and truck water in.
Wow.
These are some of the children of Wanblee.
Very good. So what kind of population do they have in this town?
A lot of children, elders. It's under 1,000 people. But for an organization like us, that's doable. That's what we're trying to help the whole town. And the school. They have a wonderful school. The Crazy Horse School, K through 12, does everything possible to keep children engaged. This is a picture of the outside of Crazy Horse School. Crazy Horse Chiefs, go Chiefs.
Yeah, Crazy Horse. That's some kind of name.
Yes. Well, that was, as you may know, a Native American warrior, chief. And they're building a memorial to him out in the Dakotas. This is a picture of the memorial. It's not finished, but can you see the profile here?
Absolutely. And I've been there and I have seen it.
Tell me, Robbie, you have.
It is absolutely, I can't give you a word for what it looks like and how long they're going to be working on it, and it's just amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's a lovely tribute.
Yeah.
to someone who was very important to Native Americans.
And now they have a school in his
And the school
honor.
is in his name.
Yeah,
Some more students.
very good.
These are the pupils that we send. We send all kinds of things to them, mostly books, school supplies. We also send prom wear.
Oh, nice.
There's a terrible dropout problem
Okay.
on the reservations, and the school, to try to keep the kids interested through the long winter, decided to hold a big dance, nice formal party, get everybody excited about it for weeks in
Wonderful.
advance, and afterwards seeing the pictures.
Nothing like a good prom, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is not a picture of the prom.
No.
More children.
Oh,
It's just
very
so
good.
lovely there in regalia.
Yes.
Watching.
Proud.
Yes. And so the older students who are at risk for dropping out, they were hoping to engage better with a lot of activities, including this prom. But nobody in Wanblee could really afford fancy prom wear.
Sure.
So we made a pitch to our neighbors in Massachusetts and asked them to please send prom wear.
Excellent.
Yes, I'll be giving you a list of things we need.
Oh, very good. Sure.
This is more of Crazy Horse School. This is
Nice.
a triptych that the children set up
Very
of
nice.
Native history. And they also teach, this is a big thing, they teach the Lakota language. Save the
Very
language.
good.
Mhm.
Very
Recapture the language.
good. Yeah.
So that's,
Now, do a lot of the Native Americans leave the area and go?
people do. People
Yeah.
leave, they go to, they at least leave the town. They go to maybe Lakota, Oglala Lakota College,
Okay.
or any other university in
Mm-hmm.
the United States that they may be able to get into, if they graduate high school, if they don't drop out, you know.
Sure.
But it's very difficult with the chronic problems on the reservation. There's a generations-long history of addiction that may have a genetic basis, a genetic vulnerability to addiction. I'm not an expert on that, so I don't want to
Right.
say
Yeah.
that definitively. But I've heard that suggested by people who should know. And some parents sometimes leave children with their grandparents or other relatives. And a grandmother may be raising 10 children.
Wow.
Yeah. And not necessarily always because of addiction. It may be that people have gone away to work or something.
Yeah.
But there are many people crowded into most homes, in Wanblee definitely, and on the reservation in general. Yeah.
And the American government does help out a little bit, do they not?
They give a little bit of fuel assistance. It maybe covers a month, a little longer than that, a month, maybe 6 weeks, depending on the price of fuel at any given time.
Yeah.
But we also have a fuel program. We try to cover as many households as possible and send at least another month's worth of fuel, if not more. It depends on how much money we raise.
Yeah.
We really need help with our fuel assistance. People literally die from the cold
Really?
on the reservation, on Pine Ridge Reservation, and other super cold places, yes. In fact, in the springtime, there's a terrible ritual called the Roundup, and I don't mean cattle. You find people, elders especially, who are dead, literally just directly from no heat. Their propane has run out. Maybe the roads were blocked by blizzards. They couldn't get fuel, or even if the roads weren't blocked, they didn't have the money for it. It's really heartbreaking. Or they may have survived, but they have frostbite, and they lose some of their digits.
Wow.
It's a very sad situation, and it's difficult for the tribal government to control or to help.
And it's a desolate area, from what I
It
understand.
is. I mean,
too.
if you live in a city or if you live in some place highly populated like Massachusetts, it was hard for me to get a sense of just how vast and lonely and rural I mean, that is real rural land, not the small farms we see around Massachusetts, but you know, that for miles and miles, hundreds of miles of just prairie. Anybody who's taken a road trip across the United States usually says, "Whoa, it took us 24 hours just to get through Nebraska and the wheat fields. I've never seen so many wheat fields." Yes, and then they continued on to California. But if you live year-round in a place like that, it's extremely challenging. Mother Nature can be unforgiving.
Right.
Yeah.
And the children, of course,
The
realize their challenge.
The children come to realize, I mean, little children are mostly happy, aren't
Right.
they? Yeah.
Right.
But as children mature, they can't help but see the limits that poverty imposes, whether it means that there's not enough food in the house or they don't even have $1 for a notebook.
Yeah.
Then the school has to provide these things.
Mm-hmm.
They do get 2 meals a day at the school, breakfast and lunch. Even in the summer, you can come to the school
very good.
for lunch. And and after the children have eaten, anyone else who wants to eat is also welcome.
Very good.
Yep. But when they go home, children tend to want to eat a lot in the afternoon at school because there may not be much at home at night.
Mm-hmm.
Or on Fridays, they say children eat a lot because over the weekend there may
Over
not
the
be a lot of
weekend.
food at home. It's very
It's
sad.
really heartbreaking.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And
We,
even though
we actually did a show on the children on the Cape here who are living in homes that their families don't have a job during the winter months. And, you know, none of us likes to see children hungry, no matter where they are. But out in the wilderness, it's got to be just horrific.
it is.
Mm-hmm. You were saying that they have a high suicide rate.
Oh my goodness! This is when children are becoming aware of poverty and addiction and what their prospects are or aren't.
Right.
They can become deeply depressed, and unfortunately, it's just terrible. There's a high rate of suicide among Native American teenagers.
Wow.
There's a high rate of dropout. It's double the national average dropout.
Really?
And suicides are also at least double the national average.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, there was a recent story of a little girl. This is her picture.
Such a beautiful little girl.
Lovely girl named Santana. And she committed suicide.
Wow.
And nobody knew that she was that depressed.
Really?
The depression could come from a lot of things. Bullying, there's an age bullying.
Sure.
There's also, women, young girls being objectified. Young men are finding their way through life, and sometimes they can get crass, and that really wounds the spirit of a young girl.
Sure.
This is a memorial service for that child, Santana. These are some of her friends.
Yeah.
And this is a T-shirt that her family had made up to memorialize her.
Nice.
That man is a family member of hers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And her story is public. We usually don't show pictures of the children, but her story is public information. There was a lot of news coverage of it.
Okay.
So we do want to be able to help the children with our fuel assistance program. And, if we can provide some fuel, that frees up the family money a little bit more for food.
And we don't generally think of, yesterday was Giving Tuesday, and I think we don't really think about the Native Americans. We're thinking about giving locally, and you could tell me more
Well,
about
it's true.
that.
It's true. I talk to people who say, "Oh, I give a lot. I give to National Public Radio. I give to the Cancer Society. I give to a children's organization. I give to Partners in Health that does healthcare around the world." I said, "What about right here, at home?
Right.
What about the people who are so fundamental to this country, to this land, and the survival of the Europeans who came here, from whom most of us are descended?
Right.
What about including a Native American charity or organization in your circle of giving?"
Excellent.
To me, it seems appropriate. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
It seems to me to be one of the most fundamental requirements of being American.
Sure.
Understand where we came from.
They used to say charity begins at home, but I think there are people who might have forgotten about a lot of people.
And what constitutes our home, our
Correct.
American home.
Correct.
Yeah. So I would really like to expand this awareness of how Native American reservations and communities are trying mightily to build and rebuild and keep children engaged well-educated. I mean, they're very, very active.
Yes.
I mean, even in Wanblee, which is very poor and doesn't have resources, people have small crafts businesses. They have computer businesses.
Oh, they do in
Oh, they're
Wanblee.
trying.
Oh,
I mean, we have
wonderful.
people with a very entrepreneurial spirit.
Excellent.
Yeah, who are trying to do their best. But the kind of resources that are available to you or me or our neighbors, like investments from angel investors and businesses, those kinds of investors don't want to invest in a place like Wanblee that is so far away and doesn't even have water resources, and sometimes loses its electricity, and where they would have to build everything from scratch. It's not like you can go into Wanblee and buy a little office building.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow.
So investors just don't want to get involved.
Sure.
So people are doing everything there on their own.
Oh,
You know,
my.
and it's admirable, but it has only a small effect.
Sure.
So we're hoping to do a lot more for Wanblee.
And you have you have something online, the wish list?
We do. We have a page on Amazon.com, and this wish list at different times of the year has different things on it. And right now we need fuel assistance. These are the things we supply to Wanblee.
Yeah.
On our wish list, we have school books, school supplies, at this time of year, holiday gifts.
Oh, sure.
We also may put up an item that is an urgent need. For instance, if we get a private message from the school that there are a couple of children who have been coming to school with no coats
Oh, dear.
or without good shoes, we try to send that out immediately.
Very good.
And in the winter, we try to collect money for fuel assistance. That's really our greatest need right now. We really need donations.
So
for
you're
fuel
in
assistance.
communication with them?
We're in
year-round?
close touch with the school.
Excellent.
In fact, Crazy Horse School has an official donations committee,
Good.
and the special needs teacher is the head of that committee now. We're in touch with her regularly, and also with the elementary school principal, and with some paraprofessionals at the school. And among them, we get the messages, you know, what exactly is needed. They even need sanitary products and other kinds of toiletries, body
Sure.
wash,
Yeah.
things that are very hard to get when you don't have a store in town.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, maybe a little convenience store or an unofficial store, but not very well supplied.
Sure.
So we're doing our best for this little village.
Did you say you had one of your members who is there now?
Yes. One of our advisory board members is attorney Bruce Taub, who is from Brewster.
Okay.
And he has taken a van out to Standing Rock land in North Dakota. And he brought a van full of supplies, all kinds of supplies to help people winter over in that harsh climate.
Terrific.
And it was an expensive trip for him, but he is so committed. He
Isn't that
has
wonderful?
such a strong sense of justice, this man.
Excellent.
Yes, we're very proud to have him on our board.
Wonderful. Maybe when he comes back, we'll do an update
Oh, it would be wonderful.
on what he's
Yes.
seen and done. and That'll be fantastic. And you also have a newsletter.
We do. We have a newsletter. The Tatanka Sun, we send it out once or twice a year, depending on our news. And we'd like people to sign up for it on our website, lakotakidz.com.
Very good.
You can make donations. You can...
And that's KIDZ.
KID, Kids with a Z. Yes, yes.
Kids with a Z.
Here's a...
Very good.
There you go. And I do want to mention our prom drive. Again, we really would like prom finery for the winter
Excellent.
formal. We hope if people have a nice, gently used suit or dress and the accessories, that they'll let us know and we'll make arrangements.
Fantastic.
That'd be good.
Fantastic. And money for heat.
Money for heat. I mean, that's the thing that can kill people. You know, you can go without food and water for a week or more, but you can't go
Yeah.
without heat for more than a couple of days.
Right.
You know, we really want to shore up
Yeah.
that particular lack.
And when that low temperature gets into a building, it's very difficult to overcome it.
Absolutely. It's, if you've ever walked into a warehouse or something that's unheated, it's just,
Oh, really?
it's just chilling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get more businesses and activities in
Oh, yeah.
their Wanblee area?
Wanblee and the surrounding, there are towns about 40 minutes away.
Oh, okay.
I think the nearest town is about half an hour away if you speed. But the nearest large town, Rapid City, is a long way away.
Yeah. Do they get the kids to school by bus?
They do. There's a bus that goes around to pick up the schools very early in the morning before dawn.
Really?
I mean, it takes a lot of commitment from the parents or the grandparents
Sure.
or whoever's taking care of the kids or the older children in the family. But they love their school. Oh my gosh.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's the heart of the town.
Excellent.
They do so much there. And I'm dying to go, but I haven't wanted to spend the money. So I should mention several of our board members have first-person knowledge, having visited Wanbley and Pine Ridge Reservation. I haven't been there myself yet, but so far I've been giving the money to fuel. I don't want to really spend it on going to Wanbley, but someday I'd like to make it there.
Yeah. I do remember talking with John about his trip there, and he was
John Paul Sullivan.
John Paul Sullivan
Our
was
founder.
a wonderful human being.
What a man.
And the founder.
Yes, and he died a little over a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
But we're carrying on his work. You know, he started out it was serendipitous. He found a pamphlet that said, sponsor a Lakota child.
Wow.
And he did. He sent the money, and he was put in touch with this child and her family. And eventually he went out to visit them. And he was so inspired, he filled an 18-wheel truck with all kinds of clothing and supplies, trucked it out to the reservation, and helped a lot of people. And he did that several times.
Yeah.
And he took his daughters, his teenage daughters,
Wow.
to give them the same sense of
And
commitment.
you said the Native Americans are very kind to their own, but they were more than kind to John Paul.
They were absolutely
They took
wonderful.
him in.
They made him a member of their
They
nation, an
did.
honorary member of the
Yeah.
Lakota Nation.
Isn't that wonderful?
And then our past president, Steve Martin, also went out to Wanbley with John Paul.
Yes.
Yes.
Very good.
And learned a lot of, got some firsthand information about how we could best help. And when we inquire and say, is there anything you need more than fuel? They all, oh, no, fuel is the most important
Right.
thing. Yes.
Wow.
And we've had some donors say to us, well, have you done price comparisons to find out who has the cheapest fuel? I said, well, it's really a very
Supply and
widespread.
demand, I'm thinking. Yeah.
Well, people don't realize how vast
Yeah.
it is and how unpopulated some areas can be. There's only one fuel company that goes to Wanbley.
Wow.
Now, they don't gouge. I mean, their prices, the last time I looked, were only 1 cent more than the next guy. But the next guy didn't go to Wanbley, so
Sure.
it's fine.
Very good. Wow. Well, as usual, this is a wonderful topic. I love talking about the Lakota Kidz, and you are out of Hull, Mass.
That's where we're based, although
Very
our
good.
board members tend to live in many other places.
Wonderful.
And other people, our donors and our members, and the people who join our Facebook page can come from anywhere.
Excellent. Well, I thank you so much for coming here and telling us about what's happening in parts of North and South Dakota.
Robbie, thank you. It's wonderful for you to be interested in this,
Oh, I'm
especially in this
so very
season,
interested.
when people are thinking about where to support charities and help others.
It's gift-giving time. Yeah.
Thank you.
What better than it to go to people who are definitely in need.
Yes. In the Lakota language, they say, Pelamayaye, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Robbie.
Pelamayaye.
Pelamayaye.
That has a ring to it.
They also say, Mitakuye Oyasin, we are related, we are all related.
Oh, very good.
Isn't that lovely?
And
a lovely
you
sentiment.
say they are teaching the Lakota language
yes.
too. They're keeping that in.
If you go to any reservation school in the whole Sioux Nation, they are teaching the Lakota language.
Excellent. So very good. So
Thank
good to
you
meet
very
you,
much.
to see you, and thank you for being
Thank you.
here.
Happy holidays, everybody.
And thank you to all of you out there listening. We hope you will be part of the Lakota Kidz online. And this is your host, Robbie Haigh, saying thank you for being here on Downtown, and we hope to see you again real soon.